Alright guys, it's maintenance and you know what that means. We are getting another data mine. We are getting an event that I don't think anyone truly expected. I know at least personally it was a big surprise for me, but I am super excited that we are getting an Italian event. Yes, it is only a minor event, so we're only getting 3 new ships today. No URs. But given that the Italian faction is one of my favorites of all time, I am truly excited for this event. We are also going to be getting new gears that we're going to talk about today, and we see how the next Extreme Challenge Mode boss is going to function. Starting in July, we will be switching out of Extreme Challenge Mode Gemini into Cancer. So if you haven't already, make sure to get that frame quickly before this weekend. So with this switch, this confirms how Extreme Challenge Modes are going to be working in the future. They are going to be rotating out on a monthly basis, and they're going to be based on astrological signs. We started off with Gemini, and the boss was actually 2 different bosses that healed each other, which actually goes in theme with the astrological sign of Gemini. Starting in July, we'll have Cancer, and that will be Admiral Graf Spey. So this is going to be a medium armor boss fight. Get those SAP guns ready. Coincidence that we're having an Italian event right now? Also, I gotta say, I love the fact that Admiral Graf Spey is the Cancer boss. Her special boss skill is actually going to be called the Crab's Claw, which goes with Cancer being a crab, and also the fact it goes with her art and her having mechanical claws. I like it. Generally, she's going to have shields that regenerate every 25 seconds, and every 27 seconds, she's going to slow everyone down. She's going to prepare a claw attack, and it's going to do a ton of damage. If it misses, though, she's going to become vulnerable. She's going to lose her shields, and that's basically what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to run away from her claw, so I think speed is really going to matter in this next challenge mode fight. Anyway, I'm really interested to theorycraft different teams for this and see if anyone can actually full auto this one. It seems like it will be a little bit more difficult than full autoing the last one. And with that, let's get into the event. Can I also briefly say that the skins for this event, while not a ton, are amazing. The skins are such a new, refreshing theme here. It's not just like fan service swimsuit skins. Like, it's unfortunate that the ships that got selected for this batch are not ones that I'd really be willing to spend money on getting skins for, because I think they are so good. I mean, Littorio and Hood skins are, in my opinion, the best possible skins you can get for those ships. And who doesn't want to see Essex as a pirate? Even the purchasable skins for the new ships each add something over the default skins. Albeit a very small batch of skins, but I think they're all really good. All right, let's get into the event. The event is a mini event, but we will have milestone rewards. The only really big major thing outside of your standard materials in the milestones is going to be the triple 152 model gun, the 1934 main gun design. This is the Italian AP gun for light cruisers. This gun has obviously got buffed with the new buffs to light cruiser guns. It's pretty good against medium armor. Not something that's all that rare anymore because its event has recently been added to the War Archive, so you can actually grind this gun now. So with that, let's get into the banner ships. There are 3 of them, 2 SRs and an elite. We'll start with the Zara class heavy cruiser Gorizia. Her stats are nearly identical to her sister Pola, with the exception of her having more luck, and we can see a little bit of power creep coming in the heavy cruiser gun efficiency. However, for all intents and purposes, stat-wise, she is on par with her sisters. Let's move on to skills. Skill number 1. Every 4 times this ship fires its main gun, 70% chance to fire a barrage. If this ship has any Italian equipment, this proc is 100% chance instead of 70, and she also gains plus 10% anti-air stat. This heavily incentivizes you to use Italian equipment on her, but you only have to use 1. My guess is you're not going to want to put an Italian gun on her, so you could put it in the anti-air slot, which I think would be pretty easy. The Italian anti-air guns aren't great, but I don't necessarily think that it's required. If you just put a gold anti-air gun, she'll probably be fine. You could also use an auxiliary equipment. I know we're getting a new auxiliary equipment with this event. We'll see how good it is. But yes, this skill is going to require that she has an Italian equipment somewhere in her 5 slots. Her barrage isn't doing a ton of damage, but keep in mind that it's every 4 shots you're going to be firing this. So it is literally like every half of the amount of time it needs for an all-out assault, she's going to be getting more of this damage. She gets it twice every version of her all-out assault. That's a lot of barrage. Also, her barrage, while classified as normal ammo type, if you look at the damage modifiers for armor, it's basically SAP. Like, it's really good against medium armor. I don't know. It's a start. It's like some extra DPS, nothing flashy, but it's decent. Skill number 2. At the start of the battle, this ship gets plus 10% evasion stat. That's actually very nice for a heavy cruiser. Also, Zara class ships in the fleet will deal 6% more damage, so that's great for Zara. It's good for Pola, and of course, she is a Zara class ship, so it's 6% buff to herself. When damage causes this ship to fall under 90% HP, that's unusually high, like only 10%'s got to get nicked, and then you get a skill. She gets plus 4% evasion rate, that's really good. And then Sardinia Vanguard ships also have plus 10% hit stat. That'll be a lot better if it was all Italian ships, not just the Vanguard ones. So this skill is obviously oriented towards being a Zara class buffer, so that you can run Zara class memes with Zara and Pola. You can run the full fleet now. Evasion is good, although if we do the math, I'm not sure her actual EHP is that great. The Zara class is not really known for being great with EHP. I guess a lot of them have shields. This one is more oriented on evasion rate. The one thing I do find is interesting here is it says when damage would cause this to fall under 90%. Can that stack? Is it once per battle? Is it permanent for the rest of the battle? I think it is. That's actually really funky, because if you get her below 90 and then heal her back up and then below again, are you going to get 8% evasion rate? Is that how that works? That's like kind of funny. In theory, you could get like 20 procs and you'll be all the way up at, well, I guess technically not invincible because there's an evasion rate cap imposed by the game, but you get it. She'll basically be like dodging everything. I'm not sure. That's really niche. It's probably not going to come up. Hit stat also has very high diminishing returns. It's also only on the Vanguard ships. The skill is kind of interesting. I actually like the skill in general. I'm not sure it saves the ship. I like this ship. I don't think it's particularly great or meta defining, but I do think that if you want to run some Zara class memes, you should run her and Pola and maybe drop Zara, but you can run Zara if you're going for the waifu over meta. I like this ship generally. I mean, we weren't really expecting this to be a great ship. It's a minor event. There's no UR. It really is just on theme. I'm actually happy with this. Not every ship is going to be the best in class, pushing the meta. Zara class got a boost here, and Zara class stuff was just fun anyway. All right, starting off all right. We're kind of within expectations. Let's move on to the SR Destroyer, Attilio Regolo. Her sister is Pompeii Magno, which is a great destroyer, and she seems to be even better. As expected, like her sister, she's going to have a main gun +1, but she's going to have a higher main gun efficiency as well as more firepower stat. So stat-wise, right out of the box, she is better than her sister. Now, Pompeii Magno actually has a summon that causes burn that makes her really good, so, you know, we'll see what Attilio Regolo's skills have in store for her. Every time this ship fires its main guns, every time, and she's got 2 of them, and she's got destroyer gun, and we just got the new UR Gear Lab destroyer gun. Oh boy. She's going to trigger an attack, a black or white rabbit, 50% chance black, 50% chance white. This is going to be proccing constantly, like constantly. Now, these barrages are only doing 15 damage apiece, but they are proccing all the time, so it's literally like an extra main gun almost, kind of like half an extra main gun. Probably most importantly, these are actually bombs with splash damage, so that's really interesting, and that splash damage can hit under the surface enemies, so against submarines, rip. This might be one of the best anti-submarine ships yet. I know she's not like built for anti-submarine warfare like the traditional game mechanics, but this barrage is actually just kind of supplementing that by being able to bomb out the underwater enemies. And if you're wondering what the difference between black and white is, it really doesn't matter. One of them, the black one, scales off firepower and the white one scales off torpedo, but it's not really that important. You're going to be doing just extra damage. Oh, and I even got so caught up in that I forgot the second half of this skill. Every 16 attacks, she's going to trigger a larger AoE attack, which is the Duke. This is a considerably stronger bomb, and it's HE, so it can cause burn. This is like an extra all-out assault. She gets it every time she would get her all-out assault on top of it, just like she would get the rabbits on top of all of her regular attacks. So she's going to be throwing bombs all over the place. This skill actually puts a lot of extra DPS stress on her and makes her one of the best anti-submarine ships, like, I think off the bat here. I don't know. This is a really cool skill for a barrage skill. Usually barrage skills I just kind of glance over because it's like, oh, there's extra bullet hell dealing damage. But this one is actually really unique, and it seems to be really good, at least on paper. We'll see how the aiming works with these bombs. They could just miss all the time and make her not very good. But so far, on paper, I think, at least preliminarily, this is a very good skill. All right, let's move on to the second skill. And just like Gorizia, she only has 2 skills. At the start of the battle, she gets plus 10% firepower and evasion stat. That's actually pretty good. The plus 10% firepower stat's very nice for a destroyer that has a main gun +1, so that's a good start. 80% chance on firing torpedo weapons that she's going to heal herself 1.5%. If there's another Italian ship in the fleet, she procs at 100% chance, and she also gets 5% more evasion stat for 5 seconds after she fires her torpedoes. Okay, so we start with base stats, that's good, and she has a self-heal. It's guaranteed, and you're probably going to run her with Aquila or Vittorio Veneto anyway, so she's going to basically get guaranteed heals and extra evasion. Unfortunately, not evasion rate, which would have made this really good, but it's actually very good in of itself because it will heal. She is by far a mob fleet destroyer. She's not going to be in any of your boss fleets. She's built to be a mobber. She can heal over multiple battles very easily. You can even run like really fast firing torpedoes because most of her damage should be coming from her 2 destroyer guns. So she can get plenty of heals off of that, and she's going to get plenty of damage in the beginning. So I actually think this ship is really good. It's one of the best mobbing fleet ships for like World 14. Power-wise, I would say she's at a similar level to Wakatsuki for World 14, which is to say she's very good. Wakatsuki is a ship that you should be using in World 14. She's one of the best destroyers that you can use for anti-submarine warfare, and I think Attilio Regolo is potentially at that level. If you don't have a Wakatsuki, because she is limited to the Violent Tempest event, this would be a great option for medium-level, mid-tier players that are trying to up their game to get ready and prepare for World 14. I would not sleep on this ship. You're going to be using her for very specific reasons. Mobbing in a submarine-infested hell, which is basically just World 14 at this point. Maybe World 15 will be more of that whenever that drops. I would definitely say that if you have the cubes, you should probably pick this up. I understand that we just had a UR event followed by a UR rerun event, and we also had a wishing well during that point, so a lot of people might be a little bit strapped for getting cubes. But if you have any cubes to spare, I would say she's probably worth the pickup, just in case you need some help in some submarine-infested waters. And I'm saying that because that's actually a special part of her skill, but she's actually even better against suicide boats, which World 14 has a ton of as well, and it can be good in lower-level worlds where those are applicable too, like World 9 or 10. Yes, I know there are plenty of good mob ships in the game already. Most people already have one, and the game is pretty lenient on letting people use off-meta ships for mobbing. So you might not necessarily need this ship. You might already have a good mobber and don't need to invest more into it, but I would say she is going to be an excellent mobber, and this is exciting for an Italian destroyer again. Pompei Magno is a great destroyer too, and she released, but she doesn't see a ton of play just because you can get away pretty easily without optimizing your mob fleet. However, if you don't have Wakatsuki, I would definitely prioritize getting this ship. All right, we have one last ship today, and that is an elite battleship, Andrea Doria. We won't spend too much time on her today, as in the world of URs, elite battleships are not likely to make the cut. Her stats are certainly on par with an elite battleship, which is to say that they're not very good. Skill number 1. Italian battleships in the fleet have plus 10% firepower and plus 10% evasion. Enemies hit by the main gun shells from this ship take 6% more damage from Italian ships for 6 seconds. Oh my gosh, this skill is so good. Why does it have to be on such a trash ship? I love this skill. This is such a great fleet buffer. I want this skill on Roma. Why couldn't this skill be on Roma? Roma was like such a meh. Okay, that's fine. It's cool. She's got a thing, but like we're not going to run her. Why couldn't this skill just be on Roma? That would be such a clean, easy buff for the whole faction. Like, you're not going to run this ship even with this skill, I don't think. I don't know. We'll see what the second skill is, but I don't think you're going to run this ship just for this skill. Like, you're losing out on so much from the bad stats. But this would have been really nice to put on an SR body like Roma. Oh my gosh, this makes me a little salty, to be honest. It's good, but on the wrong ship. All right, skill number 2. If there are other Italian battleships in the fleet, this ship deals 12% more damage. Otherwise, this ship takes 12% less damage. I like that. You can kind of filter between what skill you want. It also is related to more Italian synergies on a ship we don't care about. And she has a 50% chance to proc her barrage when she fires her main guns. 50% chance is so awful. What year is this? Is this like 2020? Oh my. Okay, so this ship is bad, but also, ironically, the skills are good enough if she was on a good body. Like, if you ignore that 50% chance of proccing the barrage and you take these skills and put them into one and put it on Roma, Roma instantly becomes a must-run ship for the Italians, like, becomes really good. I don't know. This is just kind of disappointing. It's a collection ship. That's what it is. But these skills could have been so good on Roma. I don't know. That's all my mind is going to right now. All right. Before we get a wrap up on this event, we actually have 2 new equipment that we have to evaluate. So let's talk about those now. The Italian specific one is the Oasis barometer. It's going to give plus 20 evasion and plus 15 hit stat at plus 10. And it's purple, so it only goes to plus 11, which will give 21 evasion and 16 hit stat. This seems like a slightly worse version of the Cosmic Kicks auxiliary item. It gives less speed and evasion in return for offering some hit stat. I guess it is classified as Italian, so it will proc with Gorizia. I would definitely pick this up because, first of all, it's probably pretty easy to pick up given just playing the event will get it. However, also it acts as a secondary version of the Cosmic Kicks, which is a very limited item. Not everyone might have that item yet, so it will kind of offer an alternative to that item if you need more than one Cosmic Kicks or you don't have a Cosmic Kicks. Overall, not best in slot by any means, though. For the other new equipment, we are getting a new Manju item, the Aviation Manju, a purple auxiliary. It's going to give 60 aviation stat at level 10, and at level 11, it gives 65 aviation. Additionally, it has a pretty peculiar skill. Airstrikes take 4% longer to load, but deal 4% more damage. Now, I know many of you are thinking, what are these minuscule stats? 4% is a very low number. It doesn't make a big difference in a lot of cases. But if we're optimizing, this actually isn't that bad. I'm really excited to have this item for some flexibility. There are plenty of boss fights in this game where increasing the time to load your airstrike by 4% will not decrease the number of airstrikes you can launch before time expires. But dealing 4% more damage each time is actually pretty nice and can help you potentially get even higher levels. This is definitely a min-maxing item, and certainly you need to take into consideration the launch times that you are working with and what equipment and planes you're putting on your ships when you're potentially using this gear. Really optimized builds are going to use this, but it's not necessarily a catch-all. Being stronger at the expense of being slower is not something you always want. A lot of times it isn't what you want, but sometimes you might want it, and that's where this comes in. Now, while I'm talking this item up for some of its min-maxing applications, it's actually not that great of an item. The 4% is actually a little bit misleading because you're actually doing less damage because you're losing the opportunity cost of using like a steam catapult, which will deal more damage all the time without taking the airstrike load penalty. However, it will get you just a eensy-wincy bit more damage, and a lot of times the slowness won't actually hurt you. In fact, sometimes it's actually a benefit. If you're trying to line up different carriers that are very different reloads, and you're trying to get them to all launch at the same time, like, for example, a very slow carrier with multiple torpedo bombers is a little bit too slow for your Implacable freeze. This would be a good thing to put on Implacable to slow down her slow so she can line up better with the rest of your carriers. So there are some usages where slowing down your airstrikes is actually good. The damage difference between this and a steam catapult is actually not going to be a lot, and I know how much you guys hate switching your equipment, so this might not see a lot of play, but I like the fact that it's around and an option to play around with, builds. So I like this equipment. I like both of these equipments being added. Neither of them are going to particularly be like, oh, this is best in slot, put it on all the time. They have their uses. Oasis Barometer is basically just a backup Cosmic Kicks, which I doubt will really ever ever be used for somebody who has cosmic kicks, but you know, who knows? Maybe you need 3 cosmic kick-like effects in your fleet someday. I don't know. And the other one is interesting if you need to like group up airstrikes and you have one carrier that's much faster than the other. You can actually slow that one down and do all the damage, and it won't affect anything if you're in a particular boss fight where 4% longer reload is not going to decrease the number of airstrikes you can get off. So this one's interesting. It will probably see some play from time to time and people trying to get max scores on, you know, like challenge mode bosses and things like that, but not necessarily something you need to go out and invest in. But if it comes into your lap free, then why not use it? All right, for such a minor event, I talked a lot. It was a very interesting event. There's a lot of things going on, nothing that's like groundbreaking meta, although I would say the destroyer's pretty close. Like, I don't know, I think Wakatsuki might just have the edge, or they're right around the same level, but Wakatsuki is an event limited ship. Obviously this is an event limited ship too, but if you are playing right now and watching this video, you have a chance at getting this ship, whereas you can't get Wakatsuki until it gets rerun or added to the war archives or etc. You know what I mean? So this is a great option if you're looking at mobbing in World 14 and potentially beyond. I would not really pass this event if you can get the cubes to get that Italian destroyer. Of course, it is a minor event, so we weren't expecting it to be, you know, blow your socks off, but I think it was great. The skins are great. There's not a lot of them, but they all are pretty good. The ships are all doing their thing. They're like each unique. They are not all meta defining, but they are interesting. Each of them was very interesting, and the equipment all has purposes. So I think this event, for being a minor event, is exactly what you want in this game for being a minor event. And if you have a Wakatsuki or you're low on cubes and you need to skip this event, it's not going to break the bank. It's not going to be the end of the world. Your account's going to be fine. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really excited for the next challenge mode. We'll be streaming on Fridays this summer, so definitely make sure to come check that out if you have time. And thank you guys for watching. Take care, and until next time.